What video or recording is perfectly innocent, but becomes terrifying when you look into the story behind it? Story 1. My mom and I watched an episode of the 2020 program. They delved into the case of a woman who went out for drinks one night and vanished without a trace. She had returned to a guy's apartment, yet surveillance footage from the hotel indicated she departed shortly after arriving. The man in the apartment vehemently denied any wrongdoing. Throughout the investigation, the spotlight fell on a specific individual, the last person known to have seen her alive. He stopped at a gas station and he insisted the missing girl struck up a conversation with another man, got into his car and left. He put on a dramatic display, claiming, "If only I had known, I would have stopped her," shedding tears as part of his act. There's footage of him at work a few days later, and it's pretty mundane. He's shown with a cooler and a rolling cart, placing it in a freezer. He worked at a food production company. When the police questioned his boss and requested all the surveillance footage, he willingly complied. As they reached the segment where he stowed the cooler in the freezer, she told the police to pause the video. She informed the police that those coolers were solely for storing granola bars. There was absolutely no reason for those bars to be placed in the freezer. The girl's body was inside the cooler. The guy had removed it and proceeded to burn nearly everything in a barrel down the alley a few days later, all before the police had a chance to review the footage. Moreover, he had thoroughly bleached his entire van before the authorities could conduct a search. Story 2. The TLC reality series, The Willis Family, ran for 2 seasons on TV. It was about the life of the musical family who made it to America's Got Talent, the Willis clan. The father exerted extreme control over his wife and 12 children, which already gave off a creepy atmosphere. However, what stunned me was the discovery of his acts of violation against his daughters. All 12 children were homeschooled and trained in dance and wrestling, exclusively with each other. Their extreme isolation from others was disturbing. He insisted on his daughters preserving themselves for marriage, despite his own transgressions against them. A clip from the show features him discussing the construction of houses and his property for his future grandchildren, wanting to keep them close. It's almost as if he was plotting his next targets for when his daughters reached adulthood. The most disturbing part is that the mother was aware for some time but took no action. It took a family friend to contact authorities, leading to the father's arrest and a 40-year sentence. Watching clips of the show, knowing what happened behind closed doors, is truly unsettling. Ever noticed how controlling parents have the sickest vibes? Take this family's patriarch, Toby Willis, for example. He was a dictator in his own twisted household. Story 3. Dr. Nsar, known for his sports medicine videos, was a doctor for USA Gymnastics and had numerous videos on his website showcasing sports medicine techniques. At first glance, it seemed professional. However, some of these techniques were entirely fake. He used the said techniques to violate girls, performing them under the guise of health procedures, sometimes in front of parents and at times while displaying obvious excitement. Check out Athlete A on Netflix if you're keen on unraveling the story of this vile person. He was confined in a facility meant for inmates deemed incompatible with the general prison population due to the severity of their offenses, individuals who would face cruelty from fellow inmates. I've stepped foot in one of those facilities as a contractor. The correction officers harbor a profound disdain for these inmates. They were the worst of the worst. I remember reading that initially. They attempted to place him in a standard federal prison. However, the instant he mingled with the general populace, he faced severe aggression. Story 4. In 2016, YouTuber Britney Taylor uploaded a video titled, "I'm engaged and pregnant." She details her encounter with a man from Tinder, revealing her pregnancy. After the child's birth, it surfaced that the father never harbored genuine feelings for her. It was all an elaborate facade, purposefully impregnating her just to sell the little one. Knowing this, the way he gazes at her in the video's end and acts in other clips across her YouTube channel becomes profoundly unsettling. Thankfully, she managed to break free from the situation and obtained a restraining order. Her son is now in a secure environment, residing with her mother in Arizona. What's truly chilling is that he evaded imprisonment and proceeded to repeat his pattern, marrying another Instagram personality whom he subsequently made to vanish from social media. A cautionary note for those swiping right: exercise caution, young ones. Tinder and other dating apps? More like dating traps. They're a playground for creeps, where one wrong swipe right could take you to a happy never after. Story 5. I couldn't locate a video of this incident, but it occurred in 2004. John Sharp lived in the Mornington suburb of Victoria, Australia, with his wife Anna and their little girl Gracie. One tragic day, Anna, who was 5 months pregnant with a boy, and Gracie disappeared without a trace. In a heart-wrenching appeal, John Sharp tearfully begged his wife to return, expressing how deeply missed and loved she and Gracie were. But his use of past tense, pleading for his wife and children to come back, made the police suspicious. A few days later, police charged a man with the deaths of Anna and Gracie. That man was no other than the seemingly grief-stricken father, John Sharp. John Sharp took his wife's life with a weapon he's been hiding in his shed. After a day, he followed his daughter. Afraid of being caught, he took and dumped them all at a landfill. He first buried them in the backyard, but after he became worried he'd be found out, he'd even gone as far as to send flowers to Anna's mother overseas, pretending she was still alive, when in reality, the poor wife already passed away. He got 35 years, and from what I've heard, he spent most of it in solitary, because literally every other prisoner has tried to end him. Story 6. In 2011, a news reporter interviewed a concerned neighbor, Stephen McDaniel, regarding the missing Mercer University Law School graduate Lauren Giddings. During the interview, the reporter disclosed the discovery of a body, which later turned out to be Giddings, causing McDaniel to lose his composure and obviously shut down mentally. At first glance, such a reaction might have seemed typical upon learning of an acquaintance's disappearance and the subsequent discovery of a body in the same vicinity. However, the chilling truth emerged. McDaniel himself was the perpetrator of the crime and had concealed Giddings' body. It was the moment he realized that the authorities had found her, sealing his fate. Undoubtedly creepy. I've also watched the interrogation video, with detailed explanations and psychoanalysis provided in the Jim Can't Swim Criminal Psychology YouTube channel. It delves deep into the events leading up to the crime. McDaniel had been stalking the girl and ultimately took her life a day before she planned to move out. He frequently surfaces in discussions like this due to his almost unnervingly motionless demeanor throughout the interrogation. The time-lapse security footage from the interrogation room was also creepy. It was like a photograph superimposed in a video. McDaniel had a little heart attack when the reporter told him they found his little surprise in the trash. He really gave himself away in that interview. Do you think this one's disturbing? Well, wait until you hear what happens in Story 8. Instead of fancy clothes, they found a real skeleton in the closet. Story 7. The 2008 movie Waitress. It was about a small-town waitress with a passion for baking who struggled with a violent husband and an unwanted pregnancy while trying to find happiness in love. It was a sweet and heartwarming film featuring stars like Kerry Russell, Nathan Fillion, and Andy Griffith, but most notably, Adrienne Shelly. Adrienne Shelly wasn't just a co-star but also the writer and director for Waitress. Upon its release in 2007, the film garnered praise for its heartfelt storytelling and Shelly's unique directorial style, but Shelly's life was tragically cut short in 2006, 3 months before the movie debuted. Initially deemed as a case of self-inflicting, further investigation revealed her passing was orchestrated by an unknown person. Waitress remained the sole film she directed. The Adrienne Shelly Foundation now honors and supports women filmmakers, carrying on Shelly's legacy. Honestly, telling this brings a touch of sadness. Waitress remains one of my all-time favorite movies, and a great musical adaptation as well. And the loss of someone like Adrienne Shelly sometimes showcases the cruel side of the world. Story. In the documentary Paris is Burning, there's a moment when a drag queen named Dorian Corey is getting ready, and she says, "I always had hopes of being a big star, but as you get older, you aim a little lower. Everybody wants to make an impression, some mark upon the world. Then you think you made a mark on the world if you just get through it, and a few people remember your name, then you've left a mark. You don't have to bend the whole world. I think it's better just to enjoy it. Pay your dues and just enjoy it. If you fire an arrow and it goes real high, hooray for you." I thought she spoke with extreme world weariness, as if all the fight had drained out of her. After Dorian's passing, a suitcase was discovered in her apartment containing the mummified man who had been deceased for approximately 15 years. Dorian herself passed away 3 years after the release of Paris is Burning. This implies that, even during the filming of the movie, she's been hiding the body in her closet. Rewatching the film really casts her words in a different light. The person who discovered the body was a friend of hers sorting through the costumes. Dorian had mentioned that their friends should have their costumes and belongings. Now talk about leaving a mark. Drag queen Dorian Corey didn't just have skeletons in her closet, she had a whole mummy. Did these stories just make you question every innocent video you see online? Yeah, I thought so. But if you're like me and you can't get enough of the creepy stuff, give this one a like and subscribe to my channel today. Story 9. A video from June 2012 shows a 20-year-old man playing Dance Dance Revolution at an AMC theater in Connecticut. Without his knowledge, he's being recorded from behind by individuals who both mock him and admire his gaming skills. 6 months after this video, the young man in it, Adam Lanza, took the life of his sleeping mother. He then drove to the nearby Sandy Hook Elementary School, where he took the lives of 6 adults and 20 children. Throughout the incident, he yelled obscenities at his victims. One student reported hearing a classmate cry, "Help me! I don't want to be here!" To which Lanza heartlessly replied, "Well, you're here." Upon hearing police sirens approaching, Lanza took his own life. No motive for the crime was ever found. Story 10. The MC Philpot press conference gained attention around 2012 in England. It revolved around Mick and Mariette Philpot, whose house fire tragically claimed the lives of 6 of their children. Philpot had a total of 17 children from various relationships. This emotional press conference followed, where the couple thanked people for their efforts in attempting to save their children. As events unfolded, it became evident that Philpot was a notorious figure, living off benefits, fathering numerous children with different women, and being part of an open marriage that seemed only to please him. He had previously appeared in television, boasting about his lifestyle. When one of his mistresses decided she had enough and left, she took her children with her. Philpot couldn't accept this.
so he devised a scheme to set fire to his own house, intending to heroically rescue his children and blame the woman who left, hoping to gain custody of the kids. However, the fire escalated far more rapidly than he had anticipated, resulting in harm to his own children. During that press conference, he was fully aware of his responsibility for the tragedy. He's currently serving a life sentence in prison. Story 11. A video captures Steve Stephens celebrating a strike at a bowling alley. However, he's the same person who callously took the life of an elderly man named Robert Godwin on Facebook Live. Stephens said he did it because his girlfriend, Joy Lane, broke up with him. Godwin was walking home from an Easter dinner with his family, carrying a bag to collect and recycle aluminum cans. Seconds before the crime, Stephens left his car, approached Godwin, and asked him to say the name of his ex-girlfriend, Joy Lane. Stephens then stated, "She's the reason why this was about to happen to you," before taking Godwin's life. The moment the camera turned around and revealed Stephens' face, my stomach churned. It's really disturbing. Story 12. The dating game seemed innocent, a woman choosing a bachelor among 3 contestants for a date. Yet in 1978, the game took a dark turn when Rodney Alcala was selected as a contestant and actually won. However, the chosen contestant declined the date, finding him too creepy. She dodged a bullet. Let's not forget he was also a kitty fiddler, an incredibly vicious psychopath. What's frustrating is that, despite being arrested and charged twice for lesser violent crimes, he was released early both times before eventually landing in jail for good. Alcala's charm wore thin when the girl saw the twinkle of crazy in his eyes. Story 13. Reckful's final Twitch stream holds an eerie moment. He casually muses about life being a simulation and ponders if one might get out upon death. He even considers trying his luck to chat about it, all the while casting glances toward his balcony. Tragically, about a month later, he jumped from that very balcony. The darkness deepens even further when you delve into his past. His older brother had also taken his own life. Story 14. The interview with Ian Huntley is one among many that he gave following the disappearance of 2 schoolgirls named Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. He served as the school caretaker and asserted being the last to witness them strolling toward a library. Not only did he, alongside his girlfriend Maxine Carr, grant interviews to the media, but he also actively assisted in the search endeavors. Subsequently, he faced 2 charges as compelling evidence emerged, while his girlfriend faced charges of obstructing justice. She was later released with a new identity. Her whereabouts now unknown. Ian Huntley is currently serving 2 life sentences in solitary confinement. Story 15. The surveillance video featuring Timothy Pitson depicts a seemingly ordinary check-in at a hotel with his mother. However, it was shortly before his mother tragically took her own life, leaving behind a note claiming Timothy was safe but also stating he would never be located. Timothy remains missing to this day. Story 16. Reverend Jim Jones looked like just a reverend at a very spirited church. It was actually very well respected and active in fighting for civil rights. Eventually, he led his followers to the People's Temple in the jungle and orchestrated a tragic event where many lost their lives. He also forced those who didn't agree to do it voluntarily. Over 600 lives were lost after cyanide was mixed with a Kool-Aid punch, followed by Jones ending his own life. That's where the term drinking the Kool-Aid comes from. Don't go following the Pied Piper into his so-called utopia, or else you might find yourself taking a dirt nap. Story 17. The video featured on Talk Show showed 2 girls playfully to a bed by a person who was supposedly their dad. However, it was more of a tutorial for creeps. On the show, Tosh mentioned how disturbing the situation was, highlighting the strange content of the guy's entire YouTube channel. Months later, the FBI or another authority conducted an investigation, revealing that the dad in the video had been the girls on his YouTube channel. Initially appearing innocent, that video became very sick since he knew the truth behind it. Story 18. I'm from Czech Republic. There's a video on YouTube featuring a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire contender, Victor Kalivoda. He displayed remarkable intelligence and excelled in the show. However, he later became one of the most infamous criminals in our country's history. Watching that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire video always sends chills down my spine. Story 19. There's a video of a police officer giving advice on staying safe and avoiding becoming victims of a crime. He spoke with a reporter about the risks, saying that anything could happen and warning about potential violations and robberies for both males and females. However, it was later revealed that the officer in question was none other than Craig Peer. Just 3 days after recording that video, he took the life of Kara Knott, following a traffic stop. Investigations unveiled Peer's history of targeting women and making creepy advances on several female drivers. Officer Creep here took that saying, "It takes one to know one," a whole new level of twisted. Story 20. Many people likely remember Minecraft Family, a heartwarming YouTube series from the early Minecraft era featuring a family, the creator, the son, his dad and his sister playing together. It was a funny and cherished part of my childhood. When I tried to rewatch the series, I noticed comments mentioning a Draw My Life video. In that video, the creator revealed that his father was actually very violent towards his mother and himself during those times. Playing Minecraft was the only time his family felt normal. Discovering this broke my heart.
making it impossible for me to watch or see the series in the same light. Story 21. How about that picture of a kid, tears streaming down his face while he was hugging a cop? This child, forced by their physically and mentally violent parents, reluctantly wore a free hug sign at a Michael Brown rally. Years down the line, a tragic end met this dysfunctional family as they drove off a cliff in their minivan. Their history of maltreatment towards their adopted family was no secret, yet the internet's retelling remained hauntingly incomplete. Adding to the tragedy lies the reason behind their adoption. 3 siblings, biologically connected, found themselves in need after their mother lost custody due to her misconduct. Their aunt stepped in, offering a loving home. She ensured they were well-nourished, clothed in new attire, even relocating to a larger abode to accommodate them. Then fate took a dark turn. A work emergency summoned the aunt away for a brief period, leaving the children in the care of their mother, a choice that would prove disastrous. That's the reason they took the children away, because she left them alone with their mother, who wasn't even baked during those hours. If you believe children are better off in foster care than with a family member's love because of one necessity-driven slip-up, then maybe Child Protective Services need a reality check. Story 22. Tommy Cooper's demise on stage shocked many. As he fell to the ground from a heart attack, spectators initially believed it was part of his act, unaware of the grim reality. Then there's this, a situation that is perhaps not entirely innocent from the start but becomes dark when the truth is revealed. A video came out featuring an African gray parrot named Bud. The parrot mimicked the words, "Don't effing fire," having witnessed his owner, Martin Durham, tragically harmed by his wife. If memory serves, Bud even imitated the heated altercations, mimicking both male and female voices. Remarkably, the parrot became a useful witness for the investigation. Story 23. The Twilight Zone movie appears normal at first glance. However, the truth behind the film production unveils a horrifying incident. 2 children were unlawfully hired for a scene alongside the actor Vic Morrow, but that's not the worst part. During filming, Morrow was seen carrying these children while walking through water. Suddenly, tragedy struck as a helicopter crashed on them, claiming the lives of Morrow and the 2 girls. The filmmakers rushed towards the crash site, captured the horror, showing their shocked reactions. Despite the catastrophe, the film was completed, eventually grossing $42 million. Did you know that Vic Morrow felt nervous about the helicopter scene and even said, "What can they do but take my life, right?" It's like he knew the producers were cutting corners that would ultimately lead to his demise. Story 24. The video captures Alesandro Moresi, a castrato singer, showcasing his voice around 1902 when he was in his 40s. For those unfamiliar, castrati were once extensively utilized in opera and various music genres centuries ago, often replacing female singers. A castrato is a male singer before puberty. Boys showing promise with high-pitched voices in choirs or similar settings would undergo this procedure to preserve their ability to hit high notes, preventing their voices from deepening during puberty. The haunting truth behind this recording lies in the dark history of opera. It's disturbing that the last official castrato passed away less than a century ago. Thousands of boys suffered or perished during or after the process, rendering this recording a chilling reminder of a grim era in opera's past. Story 25. The Watts family case always stuck with me. Initially, when the story came out, Chris Watts' interview left me feeling sympathetic yet profoundly uneasy. He was a husband and father desperately hoping for his wife's and 2 daughters' safety, pleading for their return, yet his unsettling composure was off-putting. Then came his confession the following week, a tragic revelation. The haunting footage from the neighbor's security camera captured a disturbingly composed Chris Watts loading his work truck in the morning, carrying the remains for disposal. It was so freaking disturbing. In another interview, he claimed the children were still alive in that footage and met their fate at the disposal site. After he was exposed as the perpetrator, watching the interview became unbearably discomforting. Each replay intensifies the unsettling feeling. Story 26. The tragic fire at Sydney nursing home in 2011 unfolded with a chilling twist. A TV reporter interviewed a nurse named Roger Dean, portraying him as one aiding in evacuating residents. However, the shocking truth emerged when the police revealed Dean as the arsonist, igniting the fire to conceal his theft of $85 worth of prescription medicine. The devastating outcome was the loss of 11 lives due to this terrifying crime. Story 27. In 2017, a crime struck in Indiana Park where 2 girls met a tragic fate. The chilling mystery remained unsolved. The final Snapchat posted by one of the girls showed an unknown man in a hoodie approaching them. Initially, I held firm confidence in the investigations process, given the existence of video and images of the suspect. However, a disturbing revelation emerged. The image of the suspect was not uploaded to Snapchat but was, in fact, a video captured on Libby's phone. The seemingly innocent Snapchat she posed now carries weight, knowing it was the last photo taken before the heartbreaking event happened. This incident reminds us that evil lurks in the most ordinary places, at the most unsuspecting times. Looks like that's all for now, but if you're not scared yet, then stay tuned to Doctors and Nurses. What's your paranormal experience in the hospital? Story 3 is guaranteed to send shivers down your spine. Join me there, if you dare.